Paul Williams from Bristol University. His work on Mahayana Buddhism is something that I'm more familiar. I'd like to suggest here to the Buddha and all of you is that another step is to do literature review. Okay, for the rise of Mahayana, what does Paul Williams say? And what about Mark Siddery? What his view? And maybe Mahayana school. Another one is and Australia. Kalupahana is Buddhist philosophy and ethics. Paul Williams, Paul Harrison. Now he is professor at Stanford University in Maryland. Paul Harrison, he is a very highly recognized Mahayana scholar. So if you kind of create quite a few people and then develop it, this is going to be a very good paper.
Nakasuna of Madhyamika to reach Sawasati Wada. So this they have look like shell to reject this one. And people then people attach to Madhyamika, but everything is emptiness. People don't want to practice meditation, and your kasara come to take people to take meditation, not to focus on Madhyamika. They have reason to their school and continue to yes,
Thank you.
Okay, this is a very good presentation. So we can have one more for this morning, one more presentation. I was busy, but they didn't claim to be a separate school earlier time. Bodhisattva route is more appealing to laity. This perhaps came from competition, but this claim is no longer accepted. And the last one, you focus on Vidyama.
Okay, a few minutes. Can I use this one? Yeah. This one. This one. Okay. And this global warming. Consumerism. Good morning. So I chose this book to present this morning. It's about the climate emergency. This is what is important in our time. So a Buddhist response to the climate emergency. This is not a single one, but collective book, and it has 6 parts altogether and with 28 articles. So the arrangement of the book is like this: mind, heart, and nature, and altogether is 6 parts. I'll come back to this later. Before that, I would like to present the chart of the problem of the carbon dioxide that is increased day by day. That is making a problem, and now we have global warming. So we start here, 1960 for the chart. Atmospheric carbon dioxide. This is by the scientists measure at the Mount Lower Hawaii. So now it indicates the degrees increasing of the carbon dioxide that make the global warming. So during the 1960s, they measure according to the scientific way. They say ppm. ppm is parts per million. So in 1996, it's just 320 around us. So scientists come to conclusion that we have 2 parts, the climate, stable part and now unstable. The stable is before 19th century, say at least 1950. During this time, the climate is still stable. So one of the articles said that only 280 ppm, 280 parts per million. That means the degrees of the carbon dioxide is not much. So the climate is still stable. From 1960 now, at the beginning of the industrial revolution. So because I want to say here, now we have the problem is global warming. By the beginning of industrial revolution, so the consumerism is increasing. So day by day, because of the consumerism, so we have industry products, many products, car or all the devices. So that produce too much carbon dioxide. So now up to 2010, the rate of the carbon dioxide is now come to the 387 or something like that. 387, so it's too high. And scientists also suggest that for all the living to be a normal and to to have much less the global warming, it must be the 350. This is the this is the how to say
Acceptable.
acceptable one. 350. Now this is too high by 2010, and now all know this is a problem of the global warming. Now come back to the a Buddhist response. How, in which way, in Buddhist point of view, can respond to the global warming, climate emergency. So this book is arranged in 6 parts by collected articles. Some mention that mind, heart, and nature have a linking. Say one of the things is scientific, and a scientific point of view, we have CO2 and H2O or something like that. I'm not very have much notice about that. So this is a problem. That means carbon dioxide or something that produces this kind of thing. So to cover with this, to have a balance here, we depend on nature, like trees or something. If we grow much more tree we observe the CO2, that means carbon dioxide, and release the oxygen that we inhale, that is make us a long life. So without oxygen, so living being cannot exist. So by consumerism, we break this balance. The more we consume, the more we have less such a nature tree or something, and which produce for us the oxygen. So this is a problem. So consumerism caused the global warming. So that has a cause. In order to see cause, as a Buddhist point of view, we have to have an inner look and aware, to be mindful here of the over consuming the things day to day. So by mindfulness, we aware this. By inner look, we see the cause. So among the 28 articles, I chose the last one by Thich Nhat Hanh, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he is 92 years of age now, and very much experience. So the article, his article is The Bells of Mindfulness. It's beautiful name, The Bells of Mindfulness. This is what I think about. Must be engaged Buddhism, because he is expert in engaged Buddhism. Although the article is short, now it's really interesting. The article contains only 9 paragraphs in 2 pages. It's a short, yeah. But you begin with the first paragraph, in the first sentence, the bells of mindfulness are sounding. Beautiful usage. What do you mean sounding? Is a global warming, natural disaster, drought, and etc. So this is day to day we hear, we see, happen to us. So we come to faces every day. That is just like the bell of mindfulness is sounding every moment. But we continue to consume and ignoring the ringing of bell. So this is very beautiful usage. So with ignoring such because of this, we got this one, global warming and natural disaster. If we are not mindful here, take it an danger of problem. So it's going to be going on to have a more and more problem. So first, we have to mindful of the consumerism, connect it with the global warming 1 and 2. So mindfulness is here. So as a Buddhist point of view, so we have to look at the day-to-day problem as a bell of ringing of the mindfulness. So we have to be mindful. By mindfulness, we can inner look to see the cause of problem. What is the cause of problem? Here is that we have greed. If one cannot get one wants, so we become hatred. Without seeing this cause, illusion, such a thing. So by the Buddhist point of view, in a look we see the cause. If we see the cause, we can reduce here. If we reduce here, can solve this problem, global warming. So this is the end of my presentation. So what I'm understand by this book. Thank you.
Question, comment.
Okay.
ก็ว่าหนังเราบอกว่าอันกำขาวในหนังที่มันจะอันรองไม้มันจะรวดร่องอันซอยนั้นหัวข้อเท่าไรที่ส่วนเป็นขีดสปินอะไรเรื่องส่วนสองที่เอาดีนะ
This is good. One good suggestion. Yes, exactly. In
กันวัดทำให้ได้ก็ในทำให้กิจกันขยับ
Okay. Last year in April, we happened to be in Bhutan. We don't see any motorcycle there in this small country. So in Bhutan, for the economic growth, usually we use GPS.
GDP.
Sorry, yes.
GPS.
GDP, yes. GDP. But in Bhutan, it's a GNH, gross national happiness. So they are so aware of this consumerism. Yes, such a thing is a Buddhist response to the global warming that can solve the problem. And also, to my experience, by two sutta from the Tripitaka, like Mahabharata Sutta, and Chakavati Siyananda Sutta also mentioned about this.
Link between
Yes, the link between the consumerism and the cause.
How can you solve this global warming according to Parisa Samubhada?
Yeah, this is a kind of cause and effect because you have greed in your mind, hatred and illusion, so you want more and more. Say in 2011, it's mentioned in the news, also in BBC, in Indonesia, palm oil. One thing is palm oil. Palm oil can be
Plantation.
palm oil. Yes, plantation. To get a palm oil, they must have a plantation because palm oil is so useful in useful 74th item, I think, like cream, also biscuit, also toppy, sweets, all the things, including that. So 74 kinds. It's so useful. That's palm oil. So it's so demand. So in Indonesia, they make a plantation. So this, in order to have a plantation, we must clear other trees and other plants. So they replace palm plantation to the area. It's 1,000 acres destroyed.
So one article of
This is because I want to say it is because of the greed to get the palm oil and 1,000 acres of land destroyed.
Venerable opinion mentioned that when you look at book, you have to see the crop of the sky. So where the book come from the tree. When you cut a lot of tree, not much rain, something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
So listen.
There's a link together. Because here also we have Awija Patsaya Sankara. Okay.
I just want to ask the ignorance question.
Yeah.
So why global warming is the problem? If we look at in the world history, for millions of years we have passed the ice age, ice age. Because of global warming, the weather is getting warm, the ice age melt down, and we have more space to live, more space for cultivation. So why is the problem now? It has been like it for millions of years.
It's because of the industry, so carbon dioxide going up and block somewhere, and then it began to warm and ice is melt down.
I mean, before the world in the ice age, the world is covered with ice everywhere.
That's right.
Because of the warming, and temperature getting higher, and the ice melt down,
yeah.
and we have more space for cultivation, like a farmland. And so, if not warm, it has been long before the Industrial Revolution. Millions of years, I think maybe 6 or 60 million years ago.
Yes, I think that period people rely on to the natural things. So without nurture something. So because the consumerism is increasing, so we against the nature, we began to nurture everything. So also partly we damage the land and the some fertilization or something like that. So long before people just rely on to nature, and they just say if rice is not enough for them to eat, they will just rely on to the some fruit or some root and have it. So that is a no problem.
Actually, mine is not a question. I would like to recommend one more Buddhist sutta relevant to global warming.
Okay, please.
Yeah. I think the Aranya Sutta,
Akanya
It
Sutta.
emphasizes on the Buddhist ethic.
I see.
For very good for the ecological preservation.
I see.
Yeah.
I have not come to in detail on this. Thank you.
To comment. And another things I would like to comment on what you have said. Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist activist monk, actually he is not. He has not won the Nobel Peace Prize yet. He's not. He just
has not won.
Yeah, he just what
Was nominated.
Nominated.
By
Martin Luther. Yeah.
King Martin Luther King.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I think I come to the end of the presentation.
I comment is that one thing that Buddhist did mention is that something that we come across face to face every day. That's air pollution.
Air pollution.
Air pollution. Air pollution. In 2014, we had a conference with climate scientists, with archaeologists, with Buddhist scholars and Buddhist monks in Lumbini. And they measure the rate of air pollution in Lumbini. It's the same as New Delhi, as high as that. If the level of air pollution goes on like this, then the Mahamaya stone, that is the stone about the nativity of the Buddha, where he was born. In 100 years, the air pollution will just destroy this.
Oh,
In 100 years.
so dangerous.
Yeah, so in Lumbini, you can see an appeal. If you go there as a pilgrim, then people ask you to drive slowly. If you drive too fast, and there's a lot of dust like this, like in campus, there will be a lot of air pollution. That's very bad for lungs.
Lungs, yes.
That's also bad for the building. That's also bad for the stone inscription. Even stone inscription, okay, will be destroyed by air pollution. That's one of the things that I learned from the scientists, climate scientists. They call them climate scientists from the beginning. So thank you for all the presenters this morning. One thing that I have thought you can improve is that, okay, for all the four, you didn't read and write. If you read and write, then you can time your presentation, because you have chosen to speak, which is another way of doing presentation. You cannot limit your scope, and you may miss out some of the points that you had in mind. And after you have spoken, nothing is left in writing. But if you write in paper, on your computer, and you can read out, then there's a more academic way of presenting things. What we do today is a kind of like more public speaking. And another thing that I'd like to emphasize is the, when you read a book, that's a way to attract other people, to attract people's interest. This is too difficult for anybody. Okay, maybe you have this sentence. Okay, you have worked on this book. I'm going to read, okay, one paragraph. the overeating impulse, digging graves with our teeth. เอาเคี้ยวขึ้นคุกขุดขุมเขาโอ้เขากินเขามีสติ Most of you, what happened to your presentation? You realize I will make some decision about what, where and how much you eat. Monotone. You don't practice. We make some 200 decisions about what, where, when, and how much to eat each day. I'm going to read it again. We make some 200 decisions about what, where, when, how much to eat each day. This is one of them. หมดคนทักของเวียดนามwe make now you want to hear some 200 decisions about what, where, when, and how much to eat each day. เมื่อเขาพูดเนี่ยเมื่อเขาพูดที่ออกสุดท้ายดีกว่าเขาได้กว่าลาอัน presentation ครับตามเขาจะมาลาที่จุฬาเอาที่ออกกันที่จุฬาลงกรณ์เพื่อเอามาสอนให้กับลาที่นิวยอร์กจากนั้นเนี่ยใจเขาเขียนอย่างที่กึศอยู่แล้วกึศอยู่แล้วสักทีเขาเขียนอะไรนะที่เราได้ขึ้นเสียง decision how much each day มันจะพูดจะบอกกันก็ใช่ how much each มากองเนี่ยที่ขึ้นทำถูกไหมนี่บอกว่าอันภายในเนี่ยจะเขาขึ้นผิดแปลมาสิขึ้นผิดแปลเขาดูในเรื่องนับอย่าง audience อะไรเพราะเขาหางแค่เขาถือหางแค่เดียวดีว่าอันเสียบอกมันเขาเกิดมันไม่ซึ้งเกิดมันไม่แล้วนั่นอย่างอันไหนอันคาว่ามันคือที่ในเจ้าเขาเนี่ยปิ๊กผิดเฉียดมันคือมองภาพเหมือนกันวันทั้งสุดเนี่ยเขาจะมีเขาวัน presentation ในพวกสิบห้าเนี่ยจะมี message อันเดียวกันนั่นเองมี message อันนั้นก็ต้องประมาณ one message นะอันนี้ตีมันเนี่ย one message เนี่ยเมื่อกี้เขาว่า the introduction เนี่ย today นั่นแหละเมื่อได้เนี่ยเขาแค่หลังตรงไหนเขาเป็น message นั่นแหละแค่หลังได้บ้างบ่เป็นมาหลังนะเมื่อได้แค่หลังว่า history เนี่ยอัน conclusion ได้ว่าปรับพื้นอันกูบอกซะนะเปิดอยู่ที่ nationalism ไม่รู้เว้ยอันนั้นมันพื้นว่าอันนั้นยาวนะอันสั้นนั่นก็ว่าครูบอกเองนะที่ดูลองครูบอกเนี่ยบอกว่ามันเกี่ยวกับมันทั้ง consumerism เกี่ยวกันทั้งโลกอันตรายมากอะไรสักก็ลาหัวข้อนั้นครับลาหัวข้อจะลาหัวข้อนั้นครับก็ที่เรื่องสุดไหนคือที่ conclusion ไหนconclusion อันนี้ขึ้นมาขึ้นนะครับก็เป็นเช่นไหนนั่นแหละเขาของเจ้าเขา3 ปาน4 ปานเขาได้กันครับนั่นเองตอนนั้นอันคาขึ้นเตียงอีกพันเช้าก่อนให้การนั่นมันเป็นแท็กคาขึ้นเอาขึ้นคีย์พอยต์มันที่ไหนอันเช้าของดาทางนั้นเนี่ยมันคือกฎของมันกฎที่แบบมีพอยต์อีกนะครับขึ้นสาวเป็นคีย์พอยต์คีย์พอยต์นั้นมันเป็นเป็น justification นะอันนี้เป็นอีกสังอันนี้สังเป็นstatement นั่นเป็น statement นะ statement เนี่ยต้อง conclusion นะที่บอกเหมือนกันนะที่บอกเหมือนกันอันเขาเห็น presentation นะเขาจะได้ check what's my presentation what's my อันนั้นในบนห้องว่า เปิดห้องว่า statement หมายสองเปิดห้องว่า claim เปิดห้องว่า claim หมายสามเปิดห้องสาม argument เปิดห้อง argument เหมือนกันหมดนะอันนั้นจะได้สักที่เองนะ So when you give presentation you have to ask yourself what's my statement, what's my justification, what's my claim for this presentation. After you have given your statement, then you go on to justify your statement. So the text key point, these are justification, explanation. There are also evidence, like the Buddha mentioned, evidence. Another one last point I'd like to make is that when you receive question from the audience, if the question is not what you have focused on, you just have to say it clearly, cut off from the very beginning. I have not focused on this question, or I don't understand your question. Maybe your question is addressed in this book, but I have not come across it. This is called academic humility. Academic humility. This is one of the qualities, one of the academic qualities that we have to academic humility. The way we present is that this is my statement, meaning this is your belief. This is your belief. Your belief, your hypothesis. Your hypothesis. Hypothesis means you study program and you think this is the way to overcome. Like the causes, these are the causes for global warming. I think this is the answer. For example, the program talks about history. In terms of program, I think some of the earlier historical work, there's a problem with that because they rely so much on national sentiment. So there is no objective analysis. I think Michael Cherney's book is more balanced, more objective because it analyzed the same situation from different angles. Social economics, administrative, and the nationalist sentiment. It includes many things like that. In terms of the quality, the presentation is equally good. Over there, you mentioned quite a few points, but it would be a lot clearer if you have one sentence or two sentences to capture all those facts, to make it into a statement. Not just as a report of your reading from this chapter, but from my understanding of this order. Mahayana Buddhism has arisen as a gradual development the word graduate development. Graduate development first came the ideas, then came the competition, and then came the school. So it's a graduate development. So my take is that Mahayana Buddhism came, according to this author, came as a graduate development. And the process of this is like this, that you go on. And then I think Zakupandwa has chosen a good book and an important subject. But you need to ask many questions. After each paragraph, ask a question. If you practice this one, ask a question, then your presentation will become clear. Ask a question. What does it mean by this? And the same habit, the first and the second was the link. The second and the third was the link. Can there be just one? Why there to be two? Why there to be three? We just have to produce a lot of questions in our head. And then satisfy ourselves first before we satisfy other people. Any question? So we start at 2 in the afternoon. Thank you. So just make sure that you make your statement clear and your conclusion clear.